What's up everybody, I'm Paltra Randomness and I am currently making a TCG, but this video is going to be talking about something a little bit different. Recently I participated in a game jam and I think we did pretty well, so I'm going to be talking about what it was like to be the artist for this game jam. So first I just wanted to talk about MangoWorks GD. He was the main dev. There's a second dev as well. For this game jam, and I had worked with him on a previous game, although it didn't work out. I was the artist for that one, but he invited me into doing this game jam with him, and I was like, yeah, sure, that sounds really fun. So I decided to do it again with him, and the game turned out way better than it did the last time, so I'm really happy that I worked with him. And here you can see his channels. I believe the lower one is the only one that he's like actively uploading to now. I don't know, I forget. But the top one is the one that has more subscribers. I forget which one is actually the current one that he's uploading to. But anyway, MangoWorks is a great dev, and he uses the editor gdevelop, which is a pretty niche program, but I also have some experience with that, so I also like that. The way that we found each other previously was through a gdevelop game jam, because that was the platform that we both knew, so I decided I would try to apply for that, and I joined his team. And so now, I mean, honestly, I hope I can work on his team in the future, because this is just a really fun jam to do. So the jam that I just participated in was called the Spring 2D Jam 2026. Basically just you make a 2D game based off of the theme of evolution. There was like a voting system where you could vote on what you wanted the theme to be, and evolution was the theme that was revealed. So we had to make a game that was 2D and fit that theme of evolution pretty well. And we also only had 2 days to make this game. Our team consisted of a lot of people. I think it was like 8 at first, but then some people left. So we had to sometimes replace some team members and just continue on without several that left due to technical issues or other things. So at the end, I think we had 7 total members of the team, including me. So there was me and another artist, there was MangoWorks and another dev, there was a project manager guy who just provided updates on what needed to be done for the game, and then we also had 2 music people who also provided some sound effects, which was great. So that was kind of the dream team. I think we got a lot of nice work done together and worked together pretty well. So now I want to talk about the game and the game idea that we had. Originally, it was kind of me and MangoWorks. We were just talking about what ideas we would want to do for the game, even before we got the theme. And we kind of wanted to do a tower defense style game. So similar to Bloons TD6 or any of the other Bloons games, or Plants vs. Zombies, those sort of games where you're trying to protect something by placing down defenses. So when we got the theme of evolution, we decided that we wanted to do a game where you had these slimes and you would grow crops, and then you would, once the crops were fully grown, you would put the crops inside the slimes to evolve them, which is pretty cool. So we ended up deciding on doing 4 crops and 5 slimes. There was one that was the basic slime, and then the rest were the modified or evolved slimes that had the crops inside of them. It almost seemed like a mix of Stardew Valley and Bloons, if that makes sense. But let me kind of go through the different crops here. So the first crop is the chili pepper plant. What that does is if you put that into a slime, they basically have this kind of quick explosion effect that deals damage around them, but it doesn't deal a ton of damage, but it just goes really quick, which is a pretty helpful one to have. They might be the most overpowered one. Next up is the blueberry slime. The blueberry slime, its power in my opinion isn't that good. Basically just fires like a little projectile at nearby enemies, and doesn't do a ton of damage. The mango slime, I think, is kind of a cool idea. It's not really an attack slime, it's more of like a support thing. So what it does is, like, every 10 seconds it will give you eggs, which are what you use to buy the crops and buy slimes. And then the other slime is the corn slime, which shoots out corn in 4 different directions at the same time every once in a while. So those are all the different slime types, and there's the basic slime, which has like an auto-target slime ball thing that it does. So that's kind of the idea for the game. You're also protecting an Easter bunny, which is in the middle of the map, from these bugs that are coming at you. And some of the bugs have different stats and attacks and stuff. So that's basically the idea for the game. But now I want to talk about what it was like to make the different art for, just the art that I made for the game. So what you're looking at here is the different plants and the seed packs. These were pretty easy to make. I just made each plant and then I copied the plant and put it into the seed pack as a different file, and that was fairly easy to make. Then after that, I had to make the slimes. That was just an updated texture of the original animation, which I showed at the beginning of the video for the base slime. So what you're looking at here is an early prototype for the slime animation. It only had 3 frames. Here is a bunch of different slime ideas I was testing out what it looked like. This was a second prototype for a slime animation. You can ignore the game over because originally that wasn't there, and eventually I decided I want this to be the game over screen, but then I scrapped that idea. But anyway, this animation was kind of just too much. It was too dramatic, so I made a second one, which was what we eventually used as the base slime animation. I was really happy with how this turned out. I don't have much experience with digital art or animation. The second animation I made was the chili slime animation. For this, I just remade an animation over the original base slime animation. This turned out pretty well, but the exporting quality was not good, and we had a lot of trouble trying to export the GIFs into the game. The next animation I have is the corn slime animation. This one turned out pretty well. Here is the blueberry slime animation. And then this is the mango slime animation. This one by far took me the longest to make because it was 10 times longer of an animation than the others, because this is the mango slime, which again, it will give you eggs every 10 seconds, and we wanted the animation to match up with when you get the eggs. So that's why his eyes slowly fill up, and when they pop at the end, that's when you get an egg in game, which looks really cool. So now I want to talk about the game as I show you some more art. I did not end up doing the bug art. I will show that at the end of the video. That was the other artists, and they did a pretty good job of trying to match my style, which was nice. But yeah, I spent a lot of time on this. I spent way longer on my screen than I should have, but it was a really fun exercise, and I think it helped my drawing skills improve. I'm really happy with the end result. There were a couple bugs that we had to deal with after the game was published, but I guess I should say the devs did a pretty good job of fixing those, and I think our game has received some pretty good reviews so far. So I really could talk more about the other people and what they did for the team. Instead I'm just gonna list their socials in the description so you can find them somewhere and see if you can learn any more from them, because they could obviously do a better job of talking about what they did than I could. But yeah, I was really happy with the team, and if you want to play the game, the link for that is also in the description. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.